Elaine Whitmore's life was, to the outside world, a portrait of elegance and success. She lived in a restored Victorian home in Charleston, South Carolina, with her husband Daniel and their 7-year-old daughter Sophie. Daniel was a successful orthopedic surgeon, reliable, quiet, the kind of man who fixed bones by day and made Sophie's pancakes every Sunday morning. Elaine was a freelance writer who had once dreamed of publishing novels, but instead settled into magazine features and ghostwriting self-help books. Her career gave her flexibility, time to volunteer at Sophie's school, host wine nights, and curate the image of a beautiful life. But beneath the charm of cobblestone streets and sweet tea smiles, Elaine was lonely, deeply, unnervingly lonely. Daniel worked long hours. He loved his family, but loved silence even more. He was a man of few words and fewer still when it came to emotions. Their conversations had shrunk over the years to dinner logistics, school schedules, and financial planning. He was dependable, but never passionate, never curious about her anymore. Elaine didn't know when the emptiness began, only that it had become unbearable. It started at a book signing. Elaine had been assigned to interview a rising literary star, Julian Black, whose novel Ashes and Honey was making waves. He was a poet at heart, 41, with wild hair and thoughtful eyes. During the interview, he made her laugh, challenged her ideas, and spoke about loneliness as if he had read her diary. After the interview, he invited her for coffee. She said yes. That coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into long text threads that dipped into the night, filled with metaphors and meaning, and things Daniel never asked her. What do you want to feel? What do you wish he would say? Elaine told herself she was just enjoying attention. But attention becomes oxygen when you've been holding your breath for years. 2 weeks later, while Daniel was on a conference trip in Boston, Elaine met Julian in a boutique hotel room overlooking the bay. The guilt was sharp, but it drowned in the rush of touch, of someone calling her beautiful like it meant something sacred. She went home and kissed Sophie goodnight, then sat beside Daniel's empty pillow, staring at the ceiling. The affair lasted nearly 6 months. Elaine became a master of balancing. She still made cupcakes for school fundraisers. She still held Daniel's hand in church. She took Sophie to ballet, helped with homework, even laughed at neighborhood parties. But she was lying with every breath. She and Julian met in cities between their homes. He lived in Atlanta, which made it easy to disguise their meetups as work trips. He told her he was falling in love. She said nothing. She told herself she wouldn't go that far, that she was in control. Daniel never asked. Maybe he trusted her too much. Maybe he didn't want to know. Elaine started fantasizing, leaving the marriage, starting over, living in the truth. Julian said he'd wait. But then things started to fall apart. Sophie saw her mother crying one night. Elaine had received a message from Julian saying, "I can't keep being your secret." It was a turning point. He wanted her to leave Daniel. Start fresh. He was tired of hiding. Sophie padded into the room, hugged her from behind and whispered, "Did Daddy hurt you?" Elaine shook her head no, but the truth sat like lead in her stomach. Days later, Daniel found the text thread. He had come home early from the hospital looking pale. He didn't say anything at first, just handed her the phone. She froze, staring at the screen, then up at his face. There was no yelling, no slamming of doors, just 5 words. "How long has it been?" She told the truth. He walked away without a word. The silence that followed was unbearable. Daniel filed for divorce and asked for joint custody. He refused to discuss reconciliation. His heartbreak was quiet, but it poisoned every corner of their life. Elaine lost more than her marriage. Sophie grew distant, confused, and withdrawn. The girl who once sang to her dolls now asked questions like, "Why don't you live with Daddy anymore? And was it because of your secret friend?" Their neighbors pulled away. The community that once celebrated her turned cold. Invitations stopped. Friendships evaporated. Her career suffered too. The emotional toll left her missing deadlines and failing contracts. Julian, after months of pleading for a life together, realized she was crumbling under guilt. He ended things for good, citing emotional instability. Elaine sat alone in a small apartment just 15 minutes from her old home. but it might as well have been another continent. There are wounds that time can't cleanly close. Elaine tried therapy, meditation, writing it all out, but nothing could fix what she had shattered. Sometimes she sat outside Sophie's ballet class, watching other families, intact, whole. She missed the way Daniel would lift Sophie into the air after recitals. She missed the quiet comfort of his presence, the smell of coffee in the mornings, the small way he used to touch her back when passing her in the kitchen. She had mistaken silence for absence. She had wanted fire and got burned. The worst part was the dreams. Dreams of Daniel standing in the doorway saying, "I would have tried if you had asked," but she never asked. She just left, in pieces. One rainy night, Elaine wrote a letter. "Daniel, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I need to say what I never did. I'm sorry. I traded something rare for something temporary and it wasn't worth it. I see now that love isn't loud. Sometimes it's just showing up. And you always showed up. I was too broken to see it. I lost you. I lost everything. But more than anything, I lost myself in the lies. If I could go back, I wouldn't choose passion over loyalty. I would have chosen you." Elaine. She never mailed it. Some truths, she believed, came too late. Elaine rebuilt her life slowly, painfully. She stayed close to Sophie, apologizing in ways children understand. Through presence, routine, love without fail. Over time, Sophie forgave her. Kids do that, sometimes before they should. But Daniel never returned her calls. He had moved on, started dating again, and Elaine knew that she would never be part of that life again. Sometimes we don't get second chances. Sometimes regret is the echo we live with. Elaine lived a quieter life after that. No more hiding, no more chasing flames. Just truth, and the long, slow work of learning to live with everything she had lost.